Miami, the 42nd largest city proper in the United States, with a population of 399,457. It is one of the richest cities of America. But it is also one of the cities that has top counts of homeless people according to HUD, Homeless Resource Exchange. Going down and gas prices going up, jobless people are also increasing.
How old are you?
67.
And where are you from?
From New York.
Do you have any families?
I have one family member here.
In Miami.
Right.
And how long have you been homeless?
I've been homeless for 7 years.
Mike.
Mike, and how long have you been homeless?
I've been homeless now for about 10 years.
For 10 years. Why? What happened? How did you become
Well, what happened was I had a job market.
Yeah, because you seem like a very
yes, I have a business
guy.
degree from FIU.
A business degree in FIU.
Yes.
When did you graduate?
1978. Patrick Monday, 57 years old. I'm married 10 years. Don't want to talk much about it. Yeah, I do have two girls. One my brother's doctor, Boston. One my girl is in Fort Lauderdale.
Stephen, how long have you been homeless?
30 years. 48.
Have any family?
They died.
I'm not with my kids. My kids are old. They got wife and kids. I am old.
So are there any people that can help you out and like let you stay,
Well,
relatives? Maybe?
No, I wouldn't ask my relatives for anything. My sister's got more money than God. She's also suffering. She's had lupus for the last 30 years, and she don't believe she has money. She thinks she's broke. She believes this.
You don't have any family somewhere else?
Well, sometimes I wish I did. I see other guys, they have family, at Christmas or something. It's like my friend here.
Yes.
He passed out on the sidewalk. He's got his mother and at Christmas they send him things. No, they don't take him, but
they send him
things.
Wow.
For Western Union and stuff.
Okay.
But nobody sent me anything.
There's 6,500 homeless kids in Miami-Dade School District. We have a hard number on that because the school district compiles that information. As far as kids who are homeless that are not in school, we don't have a good idea. At the beginning we had mainly African American youth, and now we've seen a huge influx of Hispanic youth, a lot of immigrants from Central and South America that on top of being homeless also have immigration issues. What we found, no matter what, is shelter is what they need, because you can't get a job if you don't have an address, if you don't have a place to shower, if you don't have a place to put all of your belongings, if you don't have a phone. Like, how do you go get a job if they can't call you back, you know. The common denominator, I think, is just not having a support system. Whether they came here from another country and the person they came with died, or whether they ran away from home because it was abusive, or their parents just couldn't take care of them, they turned to the streets at some point. There's lots of different stories, but basically a lack of a support system, no family or extended network to help them when they have a crisis.
A bum helped me get a job. I tell everybody the story. The guy says, listen man, if you on this path or whatever, you need this money for this job, you don't want to turn and live in this way or live in that way, I tell you what you do. Wait right here and I'll see what I can do for you. 40, 50 years old, lived his life or whatever, but he had him. He was a 5% himself. You know, I can't call him a bum, but the man, you know, he was going through a thing. He went into the sample cell on 42nd 8th Avenue, 2003, around February, March. He came out and said, you got a job, can you do flyers? So that's why I never turn my nose up at people I see on the street, because this is somebody who's down here who helped me out.
I stay in the shelter sometime. I don't want to, but I would want a place to stay. I said I don't want a place where it's a doctor place, you know, like assist living or something like that. That's what I don't want. A facility where people are sick.
Did you ever stay in a shelter?
No, I won't go to a shelter.
Why don't you
First of all, the shelters down here, it's a misconception. They say, yeah, well, there's shelters for the homeless. Okay, they're not enough. We said, you can go to a homeless shelter. Go to the Camilla's house. You have to wait in line and hope you get a bed before their beds are taken. And once they're out of bed, which happens about 4:30 or 5:30 in the afternoon, people sleep on the sidewalk.
Shelters are, can I say this? Bullshit. They want you to come to the shelter so you get your social security number, and then they can collect money from the government. This is the only woman right here that feed you and don't ask for it. Any place else you go to feed, they want you to sign a paper with your social security number, because that way the government pays it. This is the only woman that don't do that.
How long have you been doing this for?
About 10 years.
10 years?
The hope still for helping oppressed people every day.
Okay, and so how often do you do this?
I do that once a week.
Once a week, and what do you give out?
Okay, we give once a month. Advent Hope give the toiletries, and every week we give them food. And in December for Christmas, we give them, also we have something for Christmas, where we come and give them a present.
Where do you get the funding?
For my church. My church does that.
And also Jessie here, she's not telling you also, is she currently has 2 jobs.
And his sister Jessie. But since you've been doing this for 10 years now, do you notice any change? Like, are you serving the same type of people, or is it always changing?
No, it's changing. You see people, they got off the street and they came back to say thank you to me.
Yeah, so now you have...
Yes, my wife and myself finally got ourselves a home through some company that Jessie introduced us to, something called Citrus, was it? Yep.
Oh, okay. So you have a house now, but you've been homeless for a while.
For about a year and 3 months, year and 4 months.
How often do you do this?
This is once a month. We do clothes whenever we can. We get clothes from, people at church are giving away clothes. We ask for donations. Christmas time, usually Christmas and Thanksgiving, we try to do like socks, underwear for the women, and maybe t-shirts for the men. Give them a little something extra.
But based on your observation, are you serving the same kind of people, like say, for example, just one person, how long do they stay on the streets, as you notice?
It depends on the individual. There's a lot of people that I've seen that have come through that have, been here for several months, and then I notice that they, get a job or they move into the Hope House that Sister Jessie has, and they get on their feet and they leave. Others, stay here. We see them month after month, year after year.
What's the number one problem facing the homeless kids that you would solve if you could, given the opportunity? If you have funding, if you have unlimited funding and all the resources.
We have an idea for a housing program that we're going to implement soon, which is single family homes. Instead of having a big shelter, have a smaller home environment where you put homeless youth with a house parent and then have supportive services around them. And then the second part of what I would do with all this money, if it was available, is to have a drop-in center, kind of like our program here, but it's open every day, that they can come have a locker to put their things in, and they have a place, an address to use for their ID, they have a phone number to use for jobs, a shower, like basic. So like a one-stop center with, to help them transition, and then a housing program also.
Everything has gotten a whole lot better.
And because of God.
Because of God and our prayers.